Hi, my name is Adriana and this is a NetGalley reading vlog. So one of my goals from the beginning of this year was I really wanted to increase my NetGalley ratio to 75%. I don't remember what it was when I made that goal, but currently at the beginning of this vlog, I am at 54%. Not great, but not like unobtainably far away from that 75%. It's definitely, I can get there. It won't be bad. I can do it, and I'm doing it with these vlogs. So I will later in the vlog get more into all the books I am reading, but for this vlog specifically, I will be reading The Lost Witch, The Bone Wars, and Clytemnestra. They all have, well, The Lost Witch already archived, but the other two have archive dates that are approaching quickly, so I will hopefully be able to squeeze those in before they expire. But yeah, this should just be a fun little vlog about some new upcoming releases, with the exception of one. So, you know, we're doing our best. We're trying to achieve our goals. I have no idea how much further these 3 books are going to get me in my ratio. I could easily calculate it, but that sounds hard. Actually, no, it doesn't. That's a really easy calculation to make. I just don't want to do it because it sounds more fun to be surprised like everyone else. So that is the vibe of the vlog. If that sounds cool, please consider liking and commenting on this video and subscribing to my channel if you like bookish things. And let's start the vlog. Okay, so my first book for this vlog is going to be The Lost Witch by Paige Crutcher. This is an arc that I let lapse past the archive date. I managed to get an audiobook of it from my library, so I will be listening to that over the course of this week. So I think that should be a good little boon to this vlog to have, you know, an audiobook that hopefully I can get through pretty quick. As far as what this book is, I've described it a couple times before. I think it's been on a couple TBRs, to be honest, and I just kept not getting around to it, as evident by the fact that I let it lapse past its archive date. But it is about a woman in an Irish village that I think gets sent back to her same village, but like in the 1920s. So I don't really know anything about it, but I will be starting it now because I'm going to the gym and I will listen to it whilst there. Okay, I am back from the gym, and it turns out that I had that synopsis flipped. So a witch from the 1920s has been sent forward in time to the same village in 2022. And the disappearance of said witch, Bridget, in the 1920s caused an imbalance in the magical system of the village, and now they have been being attacked by monsters for like the last 100 years. So she is now back and vibing with her descendant, and they just met. So it's like kind of like that first scene of a time travel movie where everybody's like, oh, what's going on? But first impressions of this book, it very much feels like a cozy fantasy so far, so I'm really looking forward to that. After reading Legends and Lattes, I've been kind of looking for another kind of cozy mystery, or not cozy mystery, cozy fantasy. And I mean, especially with stuff like, you know, the X-Hex and the Kiss Curse, kind of low stakes, magic shenanigans. I think this will definitely fit the bill for that. I am very much looking forward to seeing how the rest of the book turns out. The plan for today is my husband and I have a friend coming over, and he is bringing his daughter. His daughter and I are going to do like a little kind of Galentine's Day situation. I have some Legos that we can build, so I thought that might be fun and would entertain a child for a while. She's 6, and I don't really know what 6-year-olds are into, but hopefully this is it. We shall see. I will report back and let you know. Alright, we didn't end up doing the paper flower craft, but we did make a couple Lego sets, because I will never be the cool aunt, but I will be the Lego aunt. So we got an Elsa set on the back here, we got a penguin and a tree, and it's all just a nice little Christmas ecosystem. I'm exhausted. Hanging out with a 6-year-old is a lot, but I think it was good for everyone. She did not want to leave, but it was fun. But she did not want to watch Lion King 1.5 with me, so I'm gonna have to watch it on my own. Okay, I'm about 40% into The Lost Witch, and I'm still enjoying it. It's still giving me lots of comfy, cozy, small Irish town vibes, but it's definitely being ratcheted up as far as stakes, so I don't know if I can quite call this cozy fantasy. I don't know, it still just feels very cozy because it's like being narrated by this Irish voice actress, and just every time she describes like this house that they're living in and just like the scenery, it just makes me feel very cozy, even though they're dealing with like these horrific monsters coming out of the lake trying to, like, I don't know, eat the townspeople or something. But anyway, I am still very much enjoying it. It is still a very good time. Today, while I was at the gym, I finished my physical read, so I'm ready to start another physical read. So I'm going to start one of my NetGalley arcs that isn't expired yet, and that is The Bone Wars. I do not remember who it's by, but I'll have a picture of the cover up here. I don't know a whole lot about this one. I saw a tagline with something about finding a skeleton in Montana that looked like it was from a dragon, and it got stolen. So that's very intriguing to me. So I'm hoping that I just absolutely love this book, because my last physical read, I enjoyed it, but it was just a bit slow. So I'm hoping this is something that I can just race through and fall in love with. But that is where we are currently at, and we're just enjoying life. Getting through this short work week. Hello, my nails are very naked, so I'm gonna start on a manicure while I talk through the books that I am reading. So The Lost Witch kind of starting to lose me just a little bit. I don't know if it's because I'm listening to it as an audiobook and I can't keep track of plots as well in an audio form, or what's kind of going on here. And I think I was enjoying it a lot more when it was just vibes, and now that there's like actual plot and expectations, we'll see if I can get my attention back on that a little bit. The other book I started, The Bone Wars, is not what I thought it was, which again, this is on me, you know, never reading descriptions of books or particularly paying attention when I like request books or whatever, but it is actually a YA book. So the main character is a 16-year-old girl, and she applied for like this internship thing that pairs you up with a graduate student to help them, or I guess to do like an internship for a paleontology person on a dig. So that's what she's doing. She's up in Montana doing an internship, and she is very much not like other girls. So I mean, there's a lot of that vibe, but this is awakening like inner child in me that wanted to be a paleontologist when they grew up. I don't know if I've talked about it much on this channel, but I used to be obsessed with dinosaurs and ancient humans and all that kind of good stuff. So this book is very pedantic, very not like other girls. I don't think I could recommend it to definitely not really anybody in my audience, but I am enjoying the heck out of it, even with all of the issues it has, because I'm a giant nerd and I love learning about dinosaurs, and I love other people who love dinosaurs. Honestly, I think this book would be a lot better if it were written for adults and following the graduate student character rather than following or like inserting a 16-year-old girl into this situation. But I guess, you know, young adults need archaeology and paleontology stories too. But the author had, like, I guess mentioned that one of her big inspirations was Michael Crichton. And I can definitely feel that because you get a full-on like geology lesson, archaeology lesson, paleontology lesson every time a character speaks, which is fun, whatever. I am enjoying it. Don't think I could recommend it to people, but just we're having a good time. Kind of got like opposite feelings on both books. The Lost Witch, I think objectively, much better book, but I'm not really enjoying it that much. The Bone Wars, I think objectively not that great of a book, but I'm just enjoying the hell out of it. Happy Friday. We left work a little later today than I thought we would, so I came home starving, so I'm just eating some leftovers from dinner last night. I'm planning on hosting some reading sprints tonight because my husband and I decided we're not going skiing this weekend. We are going to stay home because it is just really, really cold and we haven't stayed home in a while. So it'll be nice to stay home and just hang out, have a little refresher weekend. But I'm excited to host some sprints tonight. So that is the plan. Finish my spaghetti, do some reading. It'll be a good time. Okay, I just finished the Bone Wars on this sprint. There's like 10 minutes left in the sprint, so I'll use that to give you guys an update. This is definitely a YA book, but like, I'm obsessed. This is the exact combination of science and history and thriller espionage nonsense that just gets to the deepest part of my soul, and I am obsessed. Like my heart wants to give this book a 5-star, but I don't know if I can actually rationally give it 5 stars. I don't love our main character. I think she definitely has a lot of not like other girls energy, which I don't love. And I don't love the multi-POV in this book, and I think part of that is just the way the different perspectives are written. They're all written in first person, and so it's kind of hard for me to jump from perspective to perspective and know who I'm trying to be from, and a lot of the perspectives are written too similarly for me to be able to distinguish just based off voice which character I am viewing from. But like, with all that being said, I'm still obsessed. Like, 13-year-old Adriana wanted to be a paleontologist. I love dinosaurs and archaeology and bones, and I'm obsessed, and I can't stop saying that. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I can recommend this book to probably anybody in this audience, but I will be recommending it to any other nerdy teenagers that I meet, / people who used to be very nerdy teenagers. I had a really great time reading this book, and I'm glad I did it. Good morning. So I was up just entirely too late last night. I don't know if I mentioned when we finished sprints, but we stopped sprinting at like 9:45, and then I hung out with my husband while he played video games with some of our college friends online, so hung out with them till probably about midnight. And yeah, just up way too late. But between the reading I did last night after I finished the Bone Wars and this morning, I'm about 10% into Clytemnestra. I mean, it's fine so far. It's pretty much the same story that I've read 1,000 times. The story of Clytemnestra and Helen of Sparta. So yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see what this author decides to do with that story. Like I said, I think I've read a million of these at this point. I mean, Daughters of Sparta, Electra, 1,000 Ships. You know, the story of Clytemnestra is one of those where it's, I support women's rights, but more importantly, I support women's wrongs. So if that is the avenue we take with this book, I'll probably end up enjoying it. But this story is just not one of my faves, so it's already starting out in, I guess, a little bit lower place than it would be if it were literally any other Greek mythology story. The plan for today is to make some breakfast. I should go to the gym at some point. I think it's going to be a lazy weekend. I think we're going to hang out and read and go to the gym and eat. I think that's all I want to do this weekend. Good morning. It is Sunday. I've hit like the a little past the 20% mark in Clytemnestra. I am enjoying it so far. It's a little bit different than some of the retellings I've heard before. We're spending a lot more time on Clytemnestra and Hella while they're still in Sparta, so that's kind of fun. Usually we kind of quickly get through their growing up in Sparta and then them getting sent off with their husbands Menelaus and Agamemnon. But this retelling actually has Clytemnestra married before Agamemnon and Menelaus show up. That's a little bit different. As far as The Lost Witch, I think I'm almost 80%. It's definitely like picking up plot-wise. There's a lot more happening now. I think we've kind of ventured out of that cozy fantasy and it's more of just kind of a straight witchy fantasy. I don't know. I think there still could be an argument made that it's kind of cozy, but we'll have to see how it ends up. Good morning. It is Tuesday. I just finished The Lost Witch and I'm at the 50% mark of Clytemnestra, so I figured this would be a pretty good time for a check-in on my freaking 7-day greaseball hair. The Lost Witch just never really clicked with me and I'm not sure why. Like, it has everything you could want out of a cozy, witchy, small town story, and I think I would really like to try it again at some point. I guess an eyeball read. I just don't think the audiobook was working for me, but it was just the only way I was going to get through it in a reasonable amount of time at this point. I think I'm going to leave it at a 3-star with the asterisk that I would really like to come back to it and try it again. But I mean, it's a very sweet story. We got a love story, we got a mother-daughter story, we got small cozy Irish village, we got enough action that it should make it kind of intriguing and interesting, and I just wasn't into it, and I don't know why. So unfortunately that one just didn't really work for me. On the other hand, Clytemnestra is really working for me. I really like how much time this book focused on, specifically Clytemnestra and Helen in Sparta. I mean, that was one of the things I enjoyed about Daughters of Sparta, one of my favorite reads from last year, is that it really focuses on their childhood, growing up, what made them who they are. And this book delves into it even more so. We spend a lot of time in Sparta, in their childhood, with them, with their parents, their interactions with their parents. So I thought that was really, really good. I really enjoyed I guess, learning about a new aspect of Clytemnestra's story that I had never seen in a retelling. So this one included a third husband of Clytemnestra before, I guess it would be her first husband, but it would be whatever. It included that she was married before Agamemnon, and Agamemnon killed that husband so that he could marry her. So I thought that was a really interesting story to include that I had not seen included in any other retellings. As of the 50% mark of the book, Clytemnestra has fully entered her villain era, and not just, you know, setting respectful boundaries, but like, you know, murder and mayhem type villain, which we love. We love to see an unhinged woman. Hello, it is Thursday afternoon. I just got back from work not too long ago. I am 85% of the way through Clytemnestra. According to my Kobo, I have less than an hour left, so I really think I'm going to try to binge the rest of it tonight. I am enjoying this so much more than I was expecting. I think I want to finish this book tonight. I have no other plans. Just gonna binge read, I guess. I just finished Clytemnestra and I loved it. I don't know what else to say. It is kind of ridiculous to me that I enjoyed this book so much, considering I am so sick of Trojan War retellings, but it just did such a good job. Like, the character of Clytemnestra is just so deep. There is so much going on, and every author I have read retelling her story has just brought something really great to the table. So this was another one. I really enjoyed it. I need to write up my review for NetGalley, and then I will check back in and let you know where my final ratio stands after these 3 books. Okay, I wrote my review. But before I let you know my final score for the vlog, I thought of a couple other things I wanted to say about Clytemnestra. I really appreciated the way this author portrayed her arc. I feel like in some of the other retellings I've read of her story, her arc is fairly linear, I guess you could say. She starts out as like a pretty decent person. She marries Agamemnon. Agamemnon murders her daughter, and from there we just have kind of a downward spiral into kind of her villainy and everything else. It just, a lot of times it's portrayed fairly linearly, and that's not bad. I think that is, you know, a good way to take her story. But what I liked about this book is that it's not so much a linear descent into villainy as it is like a roller coaster. So like, we start out with her in Sparta, and she's this badass warrior princess. She, you know, gets married to this man she loves. Agamemnon murders the man she loves. She moves to Mycenae with him. She goes back to Sparta and murders somebody who aided in the murder of her first husband. So, you know, down, 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 down. Agamemnon obviously leaves for the Trojan War. And you see when he's not around, she actually is making pretty good decisions. She's ruling Mycenae pretty well on her own. And, you know, we kind of see her like climb back up again. And spoilers for Clytemnestra retelling, like, this part isn't really necessarily doing anything new with Clytemnestra, but potential spoilers if you care about spoilers for a 2,000-year-old story. More than that. 5,000-year-old story? I don't know. It's old. It's an old story. At the end, Agamemnon comes back with a war bride, sex slave, whatever you want to call her, from Troy. And in some other retellings I've seen, Clytemnestra just kind of gets lost in the bloodlust and murders Cassandra. In this one, she had no part in the murder of Cassandra, and I thought that was a very interesting way to take it, seeing as we had this more roller coaster aspect to her arc. You know, I think when you're doing the kind of more linear arc of she just keeps getting heaped on with more and more trauma and she keeps handling it more and more poorly, I think it makes sense to have her be a part of that. But I think in this one, because it's handling or she's handling her trauma in such a mixed, weird way. I think it made a lot more sense to handle it this way. So I don't know, I just really appreciated it. I thought it was really cool and, you know, a bit different from the other ones I've read, which makes it more exciting and interesting to read as someone who has read a lot of Greek mythology. A+ for Clytemnestra. I actually am going to order a physical copy of this one. The cover's rather pretty and I enjoyed it enough that I want to display it. So that's where we're at with that. I guess getting to my now outro of the vlog, I was meh on The Lost Witch. I really enjoyed the Bone Wars and I really loved Clytemnestra. So overall, 2 out of 3, we're doing pretty good. And speaking of 2 out of 3, reading and reviewing these 3 books for NetGalley brought my ratio score, whatever it is, up to 67%. So that is very exciting. I'm getting closer to my goal of 75. You know, I will call this a successful vlog. So thanks so much for watching and I will catch you on the next video.